everyone, welcome back to my channel. First up, my apologies for the 1 week hiatus in uploading a video. My sister just got married the previous weekend, as a result of which I was pretty occupied and couldn't upload a video. So once again, I am back. As some of you might be knowing, those of you who follow my Facebook page or are friends with me on Facebook or on WhatsApp, I recently got a job as an assistant professor at the Department of English, Rabindra Bharati University, Kolkata, West Bengal. Now, since I got that job, many people have been asking me to make a detailed video of how the process of recruitment of assistant professors takes place at colleges, universities, and both for government and non-government institutions. Now, this entire process is pretty lengthy. I don't know whether I will be able to cover it in one video or not. More importantly, I had talked about this in one of my first videos, job opportunities in and around academia. If you haven't watched that, I would give the link somewhere upwards so that you can check it out. But let me do an explanation of the process in detail of government institutes as a starting point. So, in West Bengal, there are three types of government recruitments possible. First is through the College Service Commission, where there is a direct interview and people who have qualified NET or SET can appear for that interview after filling up the form which the CSC website releases, ideally once every year, but it usually ends up being once every 2, 3 or 4 years. Our form was released in the early days of 2020 and the interview process is yet to begin. Though that could be because of COVID, but this kind of delay is quite common in CSC. The second kind of recruitment is through PSC or Public Service Commission, where there is an entrance test or an admission test, whatever you want to call it. There is a primary test, a written test, MCQ based, where you have to answer some questions, and based on that they upload a short list of people who have been called for interview, and then they have an interview of them, and then they are selected based on that interview. In both of these processes, the interview is of paramount importance. And the third type of recruitment is a direct recruitment, which is generally for autonomous colleges, minority institutions, and for universities. Now, minority institutions means institutions like Scottish Church College, St. Xavier's College, and there are many others. I don't know the entire list. If I find a list of minority colleges in West Bengal, I will put them down in the description. You can check that out from there. But these are the three types of institutions which are allowed to take direct recruitments. So if they have a vacant post, they upload an advertisement on their website or on recruitment websites like Indeed, Naukri, Job Search, or on newspapers like Anandabazar, Telegraph, Statesman, Times of India, and in their classified and education and job sector sections as well. And you have to keep your eyes on these job advertisements which are uploaded on these newspapers. Now, some of you might be wondering, how am I supposed to follow all of this? Well, you don't have to work too hard for that. You just need to go down to the description box and find the link to my Facebook page called Auditra Basu and follow my page. I regularly give updates about recruitment notices in and outside West Bengal, especially in the realm of academia. I try and follow all of these on my own, along with help from some other Facebook pages and some other dedicated websites like Faculty Plus, Career Job Search, and many others. So you can do all of that, but let me go on to the next stage, which is how you can get through the interview, which is an important part of this entire process. The job interview for the post of an assistant professor at any institute, and this portion just doesn't apply to government institutes but for non-government institutes as well, is more or less the same. they would give you a stipulated amount of time, maybe somewhere around 10 to 15 minutes, and in that time period you will have your interview. The interview panel will mostly consist of faculty members of the department where you are applying and a couple of externals from other universities. Right. And what are the three main things which are asked of you in an interview? First is a teaching demonstration. In some cases, they would specify in the advertisement or in the interview email or letter what they want you to give a demonstration on. Though this is very rare, in my life I have seen this happen with me only once, that too only recently. But in most cases, you are allowed to choose an area which you are comfortable to teach. Right. For example, when I went to the interview at Rabindrabharat University, I taught Second Coming by W.B. Yeats. Similarly, you can choose what you want to. But in this context, may I offer a piece of advice? Don't choose long texts like novels or plays. The reason behind this is that you won't have more than 7 to 8 minutes to give a demonstration, in some cases even lesser. Therefore, it's not at all possible to cover so many aspects of a large text in that small time, which is why when anyone asks me what kind of texts they should prepare for a demonstration, I always suggest them a poem or at most a short story. These are the two types of texts that I would recommend that you prepare for an interview as far as your demonstration is concerned. Now, how to create a proper teaching demonstration is something which requires a lot more explanation and a lot more detailing, which I won't be able to cover in this video. If you want me to do a separate video on that, please don't forget to let me know down in the comments so that I can make a separate video on how you can make a teaching demonstration go as per you want it to. So after you give your teaching demonstration, the panel which is interviewing you will ask you questions on that area or on that topic. The questions can range from textual details about the text you're teaching, personal details about the author, details about the time period from which you have chosen the text, or in general a conceptual question about the ideas you have shared while you have taught. So whatever you are teaching, make sure that you know almost everything that there is to know about that, so that if they ask you any question, you can answer. It should not look like you have memorized your demo and beyond that demo you know nothing. Of course, that is not the case, but it might seem that way because often the interviewers ask questions which are just tangentially related to your topic. But you should be aware of that as well. So before you choose your demo topic, survey the available choices well enough and find out what it is that you can teach, about which you already know a lot, and you just have to brush it up a little and then do your demo on that. That is the first thing which is expected of you in an interview. In any standard interview, you would be required to give a demo. In some cases, they ask you to do away with the demo and just ask you straight questions and answers. This is the second part of the interview where they will ask you questions about your subject in general. And this is not just about English. Even if you are applying to other subjects, they might ask you questions about your subject. And this has no range or possible number of options. They can ask you questions from anything. And let me tell you a secret, they don't expect you to get all of them right. They will probably ask you one or two questions which they don't expect you to get right, and then see how you respond to them, and based on that they will evaluate how you have done in that interview. This is the second part where they will ask you just random questions, like if you are a student of English literature, they might ask you the question of why is James Joyce a relevant writer, which is an easy question, I admit. Or they might ask you a more difficult question like why is feminism so strongly against psychoanalysis, especially the kind established by Freud and Lacan. They might ask you a more conceptual question, that is Indian writing in English limited to only those writers who write only in English, or those who write in other languages but have been translated into English by other Indian authors. Such kind of conceptual questions might also be asked to you. Now, as you can understand, this last question doesn't really have a correct or an incorrect answer. It just depends on your interpretation. So this is the second part of your interview. The third part of your interview is about your past experience. If you have had any past experience in teaching, especially at institutes of higher education, colleges or universities, then you will be asked what you did there, how the students responded, why you left the job. This question might also come. And more importantly, what was your salary in those places? Because based on that, especially if you're going to a private college or university, they would determine your salary. In government colleges and universities, your salary is prefixed. So if you get the job, you can either take the job at their salary or you can choose to not take it. There is no scope for negotiation. But in a private college and university, there is always scope for negotiation. We will come to that maybe later. Therefore, the third part is about your work experience. They would ask you all these questions, and another thing, they would ask about your publications. People often ask me, if I want to get recruited as an assistant professor at a college or a university, how many publications do I need to have? Well, there is no upper or lower limit per se, but I would say 4 is a bare minimum. If you have more than 4, it's very good. If you have 6, it's ideal. If you have 7 or 8, it's outstanding. And if you have more than 8, then I don't stand in a position to comment on the number of publications you have, because I don't have more than 8, right? So if you have more than 8, then well, you are set in the domain of publications. Of course, all of these have to be in peer reviewed and non-predatory journals, which I did mention about in my video called Everything About Publications. If you haven't checked that out, I will give you a link upwards. You can go and check that out. Another thing which might happen in these interviews is that they might try to subtly dissuade you from taking the job and see how badly you want it. They might tell you that you live very far away, how are you going to travel? They might try and tell you all of these to dissuade you. But remember, they are not actually trying to dissuade you. They are just trying to see how you respond. So that is how an interview goes. So this was my video for today. If you have any questions, queries, doubts or comments, please don't forget to leave them down below. And of course, please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, especially to those who wanted to know this. I will see you in the next video. Till then, hasta la vista.